All right, so we're continuing with the fair share division. So we're on the second page of the 3.1 notes. So we've already done this top example. So now let's look at example 2. So once again, we're sharing 3 assets, and we're dividing among the same 3 brothers, Henry, Tom, and Fred. And so since there are still 3 people, a fair share would be identified as 1/3, or that's the same as 33 1/3% or higher. All right, so we want to go through and look at how they valued each of the shares. So here is how Henry split up the 3 pieces. He thinks the first share is only worth 25% of the total value. Share 2 is 40%, share 3 is 35%, and these should add up to be 100%. So if we go through and identify Henry's fair shares, we want anything that's 33 1/3 or higher. So this would be either share 2 or share 3. Now if we go through and find Tom's fair shares, share 1's a little too low, but 2 and 3 are both okay, so we're going to highlight both of those. And then again, Fred, he's the easygoing brother. He values everything the same at exactly 1/3 of the estate. So all 3 are fair shares for him. All right, so we've highlighted those, and as I mentioned before on the homework, I have you circle them here. It's also a good idea to write them down. I like to sort of keep them in table format. Makes my life a little easier. So Henry, we have share 2 and share 3 as fair shares. Tom is the same, share 2 and share 3. Fred, we identified all of them as fair shares. All right, so on this one, there's going to be more than one fair share division. So I'm going to list out Henry, Tom, and Fred. So let's just start with Henry. We could give him either share 2 or share 3. So let's just pick one. Let's just see we give him share 2. So now that piece has been given away, so we can't give it away again. So if we go down to Tom, 2's already been given away, so the only one left on his list is 3. So if we've given away share 2 and share 3, the only thing left for Fred is share 1. So this would be considered a fair share division. Now in this case, there's another one. We could go back and start over. So if we go back to Henry, this time instead of giving him share 2, let's give him share 3. So then when we come down to Tom, Tom has to get share 2 because we've already given this other one away. So Tom would get share 2. But Fred is still going to get share 1. He's the only person that shows that as a fair share. So here would be 2 fair share divisions. And if we wanted to go with the best, we would see if any of them gave everybody their first choice. So Henry's first choice, he ranked share 2 as the highest. Tom ranked share 3 as the highest. And Fred didn't care at all. So if we look at our first division, this kind of gives everybody their first choice, or in Fred's case, he didn't care which one. So I would say this one is the best because everyone gets their first choice. All right, so if we look at our last page of the notes, let's do one where we have a different number of players. So if we take a look at example 3, and this one's out of your book, we have commonly owned assets to be shared among 4 friends, and we're just going to identify them as A, B, C, and D. So if we want to look at fair shares, notice now there's 4 players, so we've got N equal to 4. That means a fair share would be 1/4 or 25%. And it's also okay if it's more than that. Okay, so as long as you get something that you feel was at least 25% of the estate, you will be happy. All right, so we're going to go through and highlight everybody's fair share. So for person A, it looks like share 2 and share 3, and these other ones are too low. If we look at player B, 25% is okay, 26 is okay, 22 is too low, 27 is okay. For player C, 20 is too low, 30 is good, 27 is good, 23 is too low. And then player D, right, here's the peacemaker. He doesn't care which piece he gets. He rates them all the same, so they're all fair shares. All right, so we're going to go ahead and write down all the fair shares for each person. And again, I like to keep it in column form because I think it's just a little bit easier to read. So person A, it was share 2 or share 3. Person B, it was share 1, share 2, or share 4. Right, so I'm just writing down all the ones I highlighted. C was share 2 or share 3. And then the last person, they were all fair shares. All right, so we want to find all possible fair share divisions. This one's a little trickier because there are a bunch of them. So I'm just going to write down A, B, C, and D. So you want to start with somebody that doesn't have very many fair shares. So let's start with A, and we just need to pick one to give A. We can either give him share 2 or share 3. So let's just start with share 2. So what I want to do next is I want to come down to player C because they only picked 2 fair shares. We've already given away 2, so that means we have to give C share 3. So I'm going to jump down to C and give them share 3. So we still need to give away 1 and 4. So player B has chosen both 1 and 4 as fair share divisions, and player D has chosen 1 and 4 fair share divisions. So we could do that either way. So let's go ahead and give B share 1 and D share 4. But the second time I'm going to write it, I'm going to flip-flop those two. Okay, so I'm leaving A and C the same, share 2 and share 3. But since B and D both picked 1 and 4, I'm going to flip-flop those. So share 4 here and share 1 here. So that's given me 2 fair share divisions. Now both of those started with me giving A the second share. So now let's go back and let's give A the third share. If I jump down to player C, if I've given away the third share, they must have the second one. And now we're back in a very familiar place. We still need to give away share 1 and share 4, but B and D have both chosen those as fair share divisions. So the first time I'm going to go share 1 to B and share 4 down here. And then the second time I'm going to flip-flop those two. Okay, so I'm going to leave these the same. I'm going to flip-flop, put share 4 up here and share 1 up here. So this gave me 4 possible fair share divisions. Sorry, I can't say that. I don't always ask you for all of them, but I may give you a certain number. But at the end of the day, you've got to give each person a different share, and it must be from their list of fair shares. So for example, I can't give player A share 4 because it is not a fair share division for them. So it does have to be one on their list. All right, so our last example, we're going to look at what happens when the fair share is different for different people. So in this one, we have 4 friends sharing a cake. The cake has been divided into 4 slices, and so each player gave the value of the slice. So this gets into, you know, some people like the icing, some people like the center of the cake with no icing. So maybe you value one piece more than another. So what we do in this case is maybe one person likes cake a lot more than another. So they may value it a little bit higher. So we're going to have different totals. So what we're going to do in the total column is we're going to add up all of the numbers for player A, and that comes out to be a total of $20. And we're going to do this all the way down. So if I add up all the values for player B, this one comes out to be 16. And you can grab your calculator for this if you want. All right, this one, if I add them all together, it comes out to be 18. And the last one, that's 11 plus 9, that one also comes out to be 20, just like the first one. So in order to get each person's fair share, I need to divide by the total number of people. So since there are 4 players, I'm going to take each of these totals and I'm going to divide by 4. So for player A, a fair share is considered to be $5. But for player B, maybe they don't like cake quite as much, theirs comes out to be $4. If I do 18 divided by 4, that one comes out to be, oops, I messed that up, $4.50. And then the last one, 20 divided by 4, comes out to be $5. So this one's trickier because when you go and highlight your fair shares, you have to look at the amount for each person. So for player A, I'm going to highlight anything 5 or higher. So that would be slice 2, slice 3, or slice 4. But for player B, I can only highlight 4 or higher. So that would be slice 3 and slice 4. For player C, I can highlight anything 450 or higher. So that will be slice 1 or slice 2, but not the others. And then for the last one, I want to highlight anything 5 or higher. So that will be 1 and 4. All right, so I'm going to write down everything that I highlighted. So for the first person, it was everything except share 1. So share 2, share 3, share 4. For B, it was only share 3 and share 4. For C, it was only share 1 and share 2. And for D, it was either 1 or 4. All right, so I like to make the table. It makes it easier for me to do the next step if I have it all written down. All right, so we want to find all possible fair share divisions. So you can start with whoever you want. I would start with someone that only has a couple of choices. So maybe I start with B. I can give them share 3 or share 4. So let's just say I give them 4, right, just to pick a starting place. So B's going to get share 4. So share 4 is now out. I can't give that to anybody else. So notice if I go down to D, now there's only one left for him, so D has to get share 1. So now 1 and 4 are out, so I'm left with just 2 and 3. So I still need to give something to A and something to C. If I look at C, I've already given away share 1, so I have to give them share 2. And that leaves share 3 for A. So as I went through that, I only had one choice each time. And if I think about where I started, I think I started by giving player B share 4. So it's always nice to remember where you started. That way the next time you do it, I can go back to B, but this time I'm going to try giving him the other share. So let's do this again. If it helps, you can write your letters out again. All right, so this time I'm going to give B share 3. So now 3's out. Now, if you look at that, it doesn't get me down to one choice anywhere else. Okay, so I have to pick somewhere else to go. Let's say I go back up to A, and I can either give them share 2 or share 4. So here I have a choice, which means I'm going to have to come back in a minute and make the other choice. So I'm going to go ahead and give share 2 to player A. So now 2 and 3 are both out. I don't know if I have something that'll mark both of those out. There we go. All right, so now if we look at C, they only have one share left. So that means that C has to get share 1, which means D has to get share 4. Okay, so once again, I started with player B. So it's good to remember where you started. But remember, after I picked his, I had to make a choice on A. That means there's probably one other fair share division in there. So I'm going to go back one more time. I'm going to start with B, and just like last time, I'm going to give him share 3. All right, so 3's out. Now remember, on my previous one, I gave share 2 to A. So if I don't give him share 2, I would have to give him share 4. So we'll give share 4. Now 4 and 3 are both out. Okay, so if you notice what that does is that narrows down the last person. The only thing they have left is share 1, and then that gives C share 2. And it looks like that would be all of our possible fair share divisions.